all these people here.
No, yeah. So
I feel like you're just picking on me.
no, I'm not. I promise I'm not. That's why I got to hurry up, because I know I'm not moving fast enough for you, or faster than you want me to. I promise you, I'm trying to do it safely and quickly as possible.
Can I be over there with everybody else? Or?
Give me 1 second.
Furthermore?
A little bit more. No, right here. Right here. You see y'all to go right behind us. Stay right there.
We know that crews are responding to a 4-alarm fire. And as you can see, that fire completely put out. They're putting out hot spots right now. But when crews got this call around 12:45, that's lunchtime, Bishop Arts, there's where bars and restaurants is right next to Adamson High School, but luckily school is out right now. But we're told by witnesses on the ground that there were teachers and we don't know who else may have been in the building, but we know people were in the school, and everyone had the same reaction, that they heard an explosion, they heard a loud noise, and that the buildings that they were in shook. Artesia Muzinga, who works on Good Day, she lives in that area, just moved to that area, and said that, of course, her pet and others reacted in a way thinking something may have hit the building. We talked to another witness on the ground who said he thought a car drove into his house. And so that shows you just the force. And, you know, TC is in one place. Mike, who we talked to about an hour ago, said he was about a mile away from this. Hawkeye in the Morning, who's on the radio show, said he was very close to this, and everyone saying the same thing. There was a loud noise and that the earth shook. And so a scary situation there for anyone in that area. Dallas police expected to give an update at 3. They set a time, but that does not mean that, you know, they're trying to get what they can report to us, the media. And so the press conference is expected for 3. That time, of course, could change. A 4-alarm fire on 9th Street in the Bishop Arts community. Right now, we are only told at least one person is injured and taken to the hospital. That does not mean that only one person has been injured, but we know at least one person was injured and taken to the hospital. And what Eden was talking about moments ago, when our Lori Brown and our photographer Andy got on scene, we saw a reunification before a reunification area was set up of a grandmother hugging her granddaughter, and the little girl had no shoes on. Lori was able to talk to someone related to her who said that she ran from an apartment. What's unclear is which apartment. You see in the video on the bottom, well, now you're looking at that reunification video of that grandmother, and she's telling first responders, thank you. And you can just see the emotion on her face and that girl hugging her. We have no idea what that girl, you know, experienced and went through, but the fact that she was reunited with her grandmother and not wearing shoes just shows how quickly, wherever she was, they're doing, how she had to get away. I want to bring in Casey Stiegel, who's joining us now, swapping in for Eden as she prepares for our 4 o'clock newscast. Casey, first responders have been here now for more than 2 hours.
Right, and clearly they have made some progress in terms of the fire, because one of the things that really strikes me, I learned this in Southern California when I left Fox 4 initially and went down to Southern California. We went through fire training with the California Department of Forestry, and they would explain the anatomy of a fire. And when you see white billowing smoke, that means that the flames are mostly out. The black, thick smoke that we saw billowing into the sky, that is when you've got an active fire cooking, and that is really when time is of the essence. But that doesn't mean that this scene is closing anytime soon, but the white smoke that is billowing into the sky is a good signal that at least the fire is under control. But of course, what could have potentially caused injuries here, Stephen, is this scary report of an explosion.
Correct.
And an explosion, by the way, that you said people are calling, felt like an earthquake, describing, hearing almost as if a car crashed into the side of a building. So that is a monster explosion. And we know historically that when those buildings explode, whether this was related to natural gas in the area or not, that those are mighty powerful. And speaking of gas, we do want to point out that we have been, of course, reaching out to Atmos Energy as well as the Dallas Independent School District. So we've got the whole newsroom in there. I just got into work. Driving in from Arlington, you could see that black smoke billowing into the sky from Oak Cliff, south of downtown. That's just east of the Bishop Arts neighborhood, north of the Dallas Zoo. And when I got in here, the newsroom is abuzz. Everyone is, of course, making calls, and we're trying to get more information for our viewers, because unfortunately at this hour, as we now cross the 3 o'clock threshold this afternoon here on this Thursday, we do not know a lot of information at this point. And we're hoping that we learn some more shortly when Dallas police hold what is expected to be a press conference that was supposed to start here at the top of the hour. So we are waiting for that.
And the top right is where you see that press conference will be when it is going to happen. And Adam, if you can cue up some of the video of Sky4 or on the ground when crews first got there. I mean, we got multiple witness accounts and first responder, Sky4 video of those flames that you were talking about and starting to be white smoke when they were extinguishing the flames. Dallas Fire and Rescue making a post on social media just a minute ago saying that it's a 4-alarm apartment explosion is how they called it. They say that the fire is under control and that family reunification is at Adamson High School. Incident still ongoing. What's important to note in this post is that they did not say how many are injured. We only know on the record one person at least taken to the hospital.
And if that could be a silver lining here, Stephen, initially when you see video of a fire like that and reports of an explosion, I'm thinking mass casualty incident. My mind immediately goes to the worst case scenario. That's not to underscore the one injury that has been reported. That also, we should point out that the number could change. And Dallas Fire Rescue made that very clear in the early goings of this, that this was fluid and that more victims, in fact, could be discovered.
And we're getting a little information from Dallas ISD that we can confirm everyone that was in that building in Adamson High School, only the high school, is safe. They said no students were on campus at the time of the incident. Staff members who were on site have been sent home out of an abundance of caution. Now, that's one of multiple buildings in this area, but that's the largest building that you see. That's the bottom of the shot that you're looking at right now. That is Adamson High School. And so we know that teachers were inside because we talked to a witness who said it, and now Dallas ISD saying that everyone who was inside is safe. No students were in there, school is out, and they were sent home, but still unclear, like you mentioned, Casey, with a fluid story. We still don't know how many people were in the apartment complex, how many people were in the apartment complex next door that was not destroyed.
And we were also just sort of trying to put our heads together in the newsroom before I came in here to discuss whether we would go with the name of the apartment complex. A lot of people obviously have access to Google Maps and Apple Maps, and you can look right on the screen and see names of businesses and apartments. And we're just not sure because we don't know at this point. Official word has not come of what this apartment complex is, how many units it contains, how many people were home at the time. Was there construction perhaps in the area? There were some reports sort of circulating online, again unsubstantiated, but that there was some type of a gas crew that may have been in the neighborhood around this time doing something as it pertains to a natural gas line. So again, we have contacted Atmos Energy and we are awaiting to see some sort of a response from them, whether in fact they are involved in this explosion this afternoon that rocked South Dallas and the Oak Cliff area.
And to your point on that, was there a construction crew? One of the big trucks that's destroyed, and it was in multiple Sky4 shots. It looked like a utility truck, a work truck. We don't know what. It didn't have any logo on the side. It was completely burned. And so, we are waiting to see if crews were working in the area, that truck right there in that shot. And so that is pretty close to where this explosion is in this video from earlier. And so now you're looking on the right of the screen is where that press conference will be. Lori Brown is there for us on the ground. Dallas Police hoping to give an update in minutes. And then the bottom screen is a live look from Sky4 at them continuing to put out hotspots from this explosion that happened just before 1 o'clock.
And don't know if you saw in that shot or not, the podium was moved into place. And so that came also from our own Lori Brown. And so that means that we are expecting a PIO or a public information officer, as we know them, to come out and to brief the media shortly, and hopefully can clear up some of these questions that we have as we are now moving into multiple hours of coverage on this. The initial call came in as a 3-alarm call. That was around 12:47 this afternoon when Dallas Fire Rescue was dispatched to a 911 call of what initially came in as a structure fire at an apartment complex that is there on East 9th Street and Patton Avenue. It's right next to Adamson High School, again, east of Bishop Arts, north of the zoo, south of downtown Dallas. And but then about 2:30, the fire grew to 4 alarms, which means essentially the fire outgrew the initial response, and so more equipment was added, more personnel was added. So when we're talking about a response of more than 100 firefighters, that is massive, Stephen.
Casey, right when you were joining us, Lori Brown spoke to a woman who's associated with a girl, and we actually saw in real time her being reunified with her grandmother. The girl didn't have on shoes, and the family member that spoke to Lori said that she left an apartment. We don't know which apartment. There are multiple right there. But the fact that this girl was able to get out with no shoes on speaks to the urgency of what was going on, where she was, and just the emotional reunification that grandmother saying thank you to firefighters and police for helping get her granddaughter to where she was.
Yeah, listen, I heard you earlier talking about the time of day, this being kind of right around lunchtime. Fortunately, school is out, so there were no kids over there right next door at Adamson High School. But this was an area where a lot of people might be out and about on foot, grabbing lunch. It's a nice day. We've got a break of the rain, so people might have very well been out. But when these emergencies strike, clearly there's no warning, and if someone comes up in bare feet or with no shoes, that just goes to prove that they had very little time to get out.
And as you can see in the top right, so all the reporters, all the media are getting together. Dallas police initially saying that they were going to speak at 3 o'clock. Of course, they're trying to get their ducks in a row to see what they can report to us, the media. The Dallas mayor in a post saying that his prayers are to all those who are injured. And he went on to say, experience a loss. Now, a loss, like Eden said, could mean multiple things: loss of property, loss of pet, or loss of life. So we are waiting to see if Dallas police will let us know if there's any update to the injuries, because, it's amazing. If only one person is taken to the hospital after something like this, where that apartment complex is completely leveled, and that's a blessing.
Right. I could only surmise that means perhaps there was construction on the apartment building. Maybe something was going on that kept people away because, again, the time of day this was, and an explosion that causes the damage that we are seeing from the Sky 4 pictures. It's just incredible that we aren't talking about more casualties here. One of the things that strikes me, you read the not official statement from DISD, but at least the media inquiry response to us. She said this is not a statement, but here's some information you can use for attribution to Dallas ISD. Everyone is safe following a gas explosion near W.H. Adamson High School. So there she's saying right there, gas explosion.
Right.
Don't know if they're not being extremely careful with their wording. Don't know if they have information that we do not yet publicly have. But they're saying right here, gas explosion. And from the video we've seen, this has all of the hallmarks of a natural gas explosion that we're dealing with here.
And no one intentionally hits a gas line, right? Sometimes this happens as crews are putting in fiber optics and hit a line, or so we need to see if it is a gas explosion, was the markings clearly labeled in this area, was everything cut off? It's just amazing, Casey. We were talking about that other apartment complex that is new right next to it, just the windows blown out. But the fact that another structure, the fire didn't jump. You talk about covering fires out on the West Coast. Fires can spread depending on the wind, depending on how quick it is that crews are able to get water on it, and the fact that it was just contained to this one apartment speaks to how quickly they got there to tackle this.
It does, and I'm noting on the right-hand side of the screen there, that big tree. I don't know if that is a vacant lot. Of course, it's right up next to that fairly new building that's still under construction, but it looks as if there may have been a little bit of a buffer zone on the other side of that building. But again, hard to see from this vantage point.
And the Dallas mayor now posting that the press conference will be at 3:30, so in about 20 minutes now. And I would assume, if he's posting that, the mayor may be on scene there. We may expect to see Chief Como, the fire chief there, different law enforcement officials and first responders to this. It's not every day you have an explosion in your city. And again, one person confirmed taken to the hospital. We don't know the extent of their injuries. That's also important to know. We don't know how injured they are. but at least one on the record. That does not mean that there's only one. But the way, I mean, earlier you could see the firefighters sifting through debris, moving things. So we were wondering if they were searching for pets or just making sure that no one was under some of that rubble.
It's different ages of food, of clothing.
I would not. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
It's just different ages of clothing. Everything from child to adult and teenage clothing. So we're going to bring more. We just started, what we're going to do is all of this was going into a garage sale, a yard sale. We don't need it. They have greater needs.
What inspired you to come down here? Why did you decide this was your time to help?
We know that people don't always lift a hand. We just know that that man upstairs, God gave us this opportunity. He was talking to us. He was talking to all of us. And we decided to come over here and do this. She was very moved by it. To see my granddaughter's expression, she was sad. She was thinking about the children. And then she heard about the gentleman that had his pets. This was a no-brainer. This was a heartfelt moment for all of us, right?
Thank you, Ricardo. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Tell me your name again, first and last spelling, please.
Ricardo Hernandez. It's Ricardo. Last name Hernandez.
And what's your granddaughter's name?
Nevea Belen. It's Neveya. Middle name Belen. Belen. Hernandez also.
Thank you.
There you hear from one of our crews on the ground. I believe that's where David Centendry is, at the Reunification Center at Adamson High School. Someone saying that they were bringing clothes. Of course, I mean, if there were likely families who lived in this apartment complex. It's right near a school as well. School is out, but I mean, talking about people who are, lost everything, regardless of, injuries. I mean, people who survived or were at work are going to come back to nothing.
You know what, Stephen? One of the things that never ceases to amaze me is the kindness of people and how people immediately jump into action to help their neighbors. And, Mr. Rogers always said, look for the helpers.
Look for the helpers.
And that's what I do. And just to think that man just was going to have a yard sale. Yep. He said he didn't need the stuff and knows from seeing this news that there are going to be a lot of people going without and that a lot of people are hurting and a lot of people are impacted. And so people look for any way that they can to try and help their neighbors, and whether that is just putting some puzzles together or some old clothes, in anything. One big headline that we need to bring you at the top of here at 3:15, our own Sean Rabb has confirmed that Dallas Fire Rescue was in fact en route to that location to investigate reports of a gas leak when the explosion occurred. So that jives with the information that I was sort of reading online from some of the people that were out there, boots on the ground. So we don't know if that in fact was a utility truck, Stephen, that we saw them dousing, and almost all the logos appear to be burned off of it. If that was in fact a utility truck that was dispatched to the area because people smelled natural gas in the air and then made a call.
Or was it already there?
Or was it already there?
And
that
then
is a big note.
Also in Sky 4, as they were putting out the flames, we saw another construction truck that looked like it was digging not far from the main scene that we're talking about. In your top right is where the media is being assembled. Our Lori Brown is there. That's one of the public information officers right there in front of the camera that you see. And so Mayor Johnson saying that 3:30 press conference, so that's in 15 minutes. But as you can see, the media assembled on the right side of the screen. Davidson Tindry, we just heard from someone that they were talking to of bringing clothes for people at that reunification site. That's at Adamson High School. Like you mentioned, Casey, Dallas ISD saying that no students were in the school. The staff that was in the school was safe and that they were sent home immediately after this gas explosion happened.
Lori Brown also adding here to the chat that the mayor, that the city manager, and fire will all be speaking at 3:30. So initially, when I sat down in the chair, we were expecting the Dallas Police press conference to begin at the top of the hour. Now it appears that we've got city officials that are also wanting to join to discuss the operations and moving forward. So 3:30. About 15 minutes or so from now, we expect to hear from the mayor, also the city manager, fire and police officials.
Let's reset the scene. So as we prepare for this press conference, Dallas Fire and Rescue got this call around 12:45, lunchtime, in a Bishop Arts area, Bishop Arts, near in Oak Cliff, near the Dallas Zoo. To put in context where geographically this happened, we're told it was a structure fire, a 4-alarm fire. Initially, it was a 3-alarm, at least 100 fire personnel responding to this. And we're about to, actually, this press conference is going to get moved up. You see Chief Daniel Como, City Manager Kim Tolbert, and Mayor Eric Johnson. Let's take a listen at this press conference.
To contain the fire. Our Dallas Police Department is here as well to provide support here on the ground. I want to give a special thank you to our Chief of Public Safety, Dominique Artis, to the Chief of Police, Daniel Como, who are both here with us, as well as to all the first responders who are here on the site to provide support to this community. A family reunification center has been set up at W.H. Adamson High School. Our prayers are with the many families who are affected by this event. Our prayers are also with the entire Dallas community during this time. We will continue to provide you with updates as more information becomes available. Now at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our Mayor Eric Johnson, for some remarks.
Thanks, Kim. I want to encourage our entire city, this entire state, the entire nation to come together and pray for all the people, all the families who are affected by this tragedy we are experiencing here today in our city. We ask everyone to please pray for our Dallas Fire Rescue personnel who are still fighting this fire. They do an amazing job under very, very difficult circumstances like this, and we just pray that they will be safe while they try to save and help every single person they can affected by this. I'm joined here today by the councilman for this district, Chad West, and Councilman Maxie Johnson. I just want to say that we are going to do every single thing we have to do and that we need to do to make sure that every affected family by this tragedy gets what they need. So you have my commitment that we will do whatever we have to do to make sure that these folks are okay. But the most important thing right now is that we come together as a community and that we pray for everyone's well-being. At this point, I want to turn it over to our Dallas Fire Rescue Chief Russ, to address any other issues. But I just want to say that today's tragedy, the first day of summer after DISD just let out yesterday, we need to pray for these folks who are affected by this and for our entire city. So with that, Chief Russ.
Yes, I'm Assistant Chief James Russ with Dallas Fire Rescue. At 12:47, our dispatch center received a gas leak call at the 400 block of East 9th Street. Crews quickly arrived at 12:49, a 2-minute response, and quickly upgraded to a second alarm fire. Shortly after, it continued to escalate and upgrade. At this time, we are at a 5-alarm fire. The fire is contained, but our members are still working on the scene to do primary searches. We put a drone in the air to canvass the area to see if we have any, if we see any victims or anything around. Once we get more information, we'll let you know. But at this time, there's unknown how many possible fatalities we may have. And also we have 4 people transported to the hospital in unknown conditions at this time. Thank you.
Can you confirm if there are any deaths or not?
Can you talk about the cause of the gas leak?
Did anyone die from this situation?
We will be providing you with another update as soon as additional information comes available. At this time, we're not taking any questions. Thank you all so very much.
Was the city involved with some construction prior to the gas leak?
But
Thank you. Like I mentioned before, we'll have updates when they're available. Thank you.
you just heard from the Dallas City Manager, Mayor Eric Johnson, the Assistant Fire Chief. The biggest takeaway for me, Casey, and correct me if I'm wrong, the Assistant Fire Chief said unknown fatalities. They didn't answer any questions. I didn't hear a hard number on the amount of people that were either taken to the hospital or injured, but what stood out to me from that was unknown fatalities.
So we do know that 4 people were transferred. They did mention that in there, but we didn't get any kind of information about their conditions or what type of shape those victims were in, whether it was burns, whether it was other injuries. The assistant fire chief also saying that they put the drone up in the air to canvass the area in a search for potential survivors or victims that may be trapped in the rubble. And they said that they couldn't provide us with any information in terms of what that had yielded. But it sounds to me like it's still very much an active scene, and that they are certainly in the search and rescue and search and recovery mode.
Yeah, and we'll see it soon. Now it speaks more to the fact that firefighters were searching through some of the rubble as the fire was still going and putting out hot spots. They were searching through some of the rubble. The city manager, Kim Tolbert, and Mayor Eric Johnson both saying that they're asking the city, in the mayor's words, the nation, to pray for the families in this incident. At least 4 people injured, 4 people transported, but unknown number of fatalities is the tough spot to deal with in this. And city officials not answering any questions from the media in their first media briefing. Of course, there will be multiple that will happen probably today.
Which is why it leads me to believe that this is still very much ongoing. This is very active. They wanted to get to cameras and they wanted to make some kind of an official statement. Clearly, this is garnering a lot of attention and they wanted to be able to get out in front of it, but they're still trying to get information themselves and they are still on the scene there working. As you see the water, as those live pictures come to us from Sky 4, they're still dousing that thing with water. There are a tremendous number of firefighters that are still out there visible on the scene. So this is still very much active several hours into this. Again, the initial call from 911 came in around 12:47 this afternoon. They're on East 9th Street and Patton Avenue, which is right next to Adamson High School. That's just east of Bishop Arts, north of the zoo, south of downtown. And then this grew to 4 alarms around 2:30 this afternoon, meaning the fire outgrew the initial response. So there was at least more than 71 fire units on the scene. A family assistance center has been set up at W.H. Adamson High School, which is right next to the scene itself. They're using that. Almost reminds me of a reunification center,
sure.
Stephen.
Yes.
That's something that we're familiar with these days, and so they're directing everyone to that location at this time.
And we have multiple crews on the ground. So Lori Brown was where that media briefing was, and then Davidson Tindry is at that reunification center. He said that he spoke to a man who lives across the street, and so we're going to be talking to him soon. But as we wait for David to come on, I mean, what a difference, 2.5 or more hours makes. You barely see any smoke now. But initially, I mean, the flames raging from viewer video and from Sky 4, and the fact that they got there so quickly. So David, if you can hear us, as Stephen and Casey, can you share with us what you just heard from that witness, that person that you just spoke to?
Hey, Stephen. Hey, Casey. Yeah, we're outside of this reunification center right now, and we saw a man just across the way from this high school, and he had pants on but no shirt, just a towel wrapped around his shoulders, so it looked like he came out here really unprepared rather quickly. So we came up and talked to him, and he says he lives in an apartment complex just across the street from the one that exploded. He said he was inside of his unit and he was just simply playing a video game. He and his 11-year-old brother were home alone at the time. This young man, 17 years old, and they heard this explosion from across the street. Everything just started shaking. He said smoke started coming into his unit, even across the street, coming through their open windows. So he said he just quickly grabbed his 11-year-old brother and they ran over here just someplace where they could get a bit of safety. His parents, I should say, were not home. They were down the street, so he contacted his mom, and right now he's just sort of taking it all in. His biggest concern, obviously, on top of the concerns for those who were in that apartment complex, is what if there's a secondary explosion? What if our complex is next? So he was really quick to just get over here, and he shared those raw emotions with us just for a few minutes. About a couple minutes ago, we spoke to him right across the street from the high school. We've seen a handful of people going in and out of this high school where it's the reunification center again, but everything is obviously so fluid on scene right now that I don't even know if a lot of people in the area have learned yet that this is the place where, if you're separated from your family members, where it's an option for you to go and meet up with them. Stephen, Casey.
David, we actually want to play a little bit of that interview that you just got. We understand that is queued up and ready to go. Let's roll it.
Right in front. Oh, yes, sir. What's your name? Eric. Eric. Just a second, I'm going to ask you to spell that for me. Okay. Everyone ready? Hold on 1 second. I'm ready. You good? Rolling. We're good. Call Eric. Spell your name for me.
E-R-I-C-K. My last name P-O-S-A-D-A.
And you can just let me know. What did you see?
17.
Okay. What did you see?
Now, I just seen flames and I just heard a big loud bang. It was really a lot to take in.
What time did it happen?
Around maybe 12, 1. Early 12.
What went through your head?
A lot. I seen the apartments, all broken down. I seen a little girl trying to get out of the rubble. It was really a lot to take in. I can't lie. It was just too much. I had too much going on. I was trying to get my brother safety, my little brother. Trying to get all the neighbors to go back to the apartment, get away from the explosion, because whatever was too slow to get in. It was just a lot. No, I live in front of
Yeah, apartment building.
Yeah, the apartment building.
What happened here? What did you feel?
It was like an earthquake, really. That's what it felt like. Everything just shooken up. It shook it up bad to where the point it was a whole bunch of like dust, I guess, inside the house. Like it felt like our apartments were about to go down too. I can't even lie.
So what do you know about the apartment complex?
Yeah, I know people that live there. A lot of people live there. It's bad, man. I can't lie. All the kids, I know a lot of kids live there, a lot of families. So them just the thought of them, not making it out, it like hurts me. Especially all the little kids and all that. I can't say too much on that, but from the looks of it looks pretty bad. So I'm pretty sure a lot of people didn't make it out.
How did you feel all this is going down?
Horrible. I just been scared for my family, my brother, my neighbors, the block, everything. Like, really, the only thought I had was what if it explodes again and worse? Fire catches on everywhere else.
Is that what led you out here? I know, like, you just got a towel around the track. What did you think over here, or what led you over here to the high school?
I just ran over here with my brother. My goal was just trying to get away from there with my family because I didn't want my brother nowhere around that stuff.
How old is your brother?
My brother's 11.
And it's just you two?
Oh, yeah, it was just me.
Have you talked to your parents?
My goal was to get away from there. I hear him saying that to you, David. And, right before we even played that video out, you told us about that young man came up. He had pants on, no shirt. He had that towel around his neck. This also matches with some reunifications we saw earlier in the day when a little girl was reunited with her grandmother, I believe, and she had no shoes on at the time.
Right.
So, David, that tells me, as they said, people heard this, they didn't know what was going on, and their initial instinct was to get the heck out of Dodge.
Yeah, certainly it's just a fight or flight response, and everyone just flighted. They took away from where they were at for obvious reasons. I can tell you, while we were listening to that recorded interview with that young man, we saw the mayor, we saw the Dallas Police Chief, Daniel Como, walk inside to this reunification center with a group of what appeared to be city staff and officials. So not sure if they have any set meetings inside of here, if they're specifically speaking with families, but it was just a group of them who all walked in at the same time just about 2 or 3 minutes ago. So we'll see what information we can get from those city officials once they walk out of this reunification center.
David, all this is happening in real time, so I know things are fluid. Once we started getting on the air and the fire was raging, I noticed I didn't see a lot of people around from Sky 4. The young man that you talked to, did he describe, because I couldn't really hear all of the interview, did he describe how many people were like outside, like ran out of their apartments when they heard the noise?
No, he didn't have that information, but I was trying to get some sort of a picture painted as to how many people live in that complex, if it's active. I mean, it's, not uncommon to see some apartment complexes relatively vacant without a lot of people. He was inside of his apartment complex at the time just playing his video game, but I asked him, is this a full apartment complex? Are there a lot of people who live there? And not necessarily the answer you want to hear. He said, oh yeah, it's a full complex, like a lot of people live there. All sorts of people live there. So, just hoping that as many people as possible were not home at the time. We don't even want to begin to speculate what could have happened, but in his words, it was a place where plenty of families were living.
Well, what strikes me about this, David, and you're very correct in saying that we do not want to speculate. We are not here to make people hysterical. We don't want to upset people, but we are also good judges of character and reading people as journalists. And I don't know about you, Stephen, but you and I were talking about it a little bit. There was a different feel with those city leaders just now, not giving a whole lot of information. You heard Mayor Eric Johnson saying over and over and over that the nation was needing to pray for the victims and the first responders. So, our worst fears could potentially be realized here in that was a very, very full apartment building and that the casualty count is actually much higher. We're just not being told that information at this point because they're trying to not only get the hotspots out, make sure that the danger has subsided for all of the crews that are out there and the other neighboring businesses and residences, and then they're going to get in and try to get more specific numbers. But I have a little bit of a sinking feeling, if I must say.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, if one person is displaced or injured, I mean, you have feelings for that. But just the tone and tenor from the city manager, Kim Tolbert, and Mayor Eric Johnson, the emotion that you heard in their voice, and then for the assistant fire chief to say unknown number of fatalities. Let's look at the context. It's May 28th. School is out. That parents are still at work, but people are home at different times of the day. This is noon in an active area, Bishop Arts community. And so there's a lot that we don't know. And so we're trying to bring you as much information as we know. And right now we just know at least 4 people were transported and an unknown number of fatalities. This happening just before 1 o'clock. And as we've been talking about for the last couple of hours, just how quickly first responders got there. I mean, because this could be a totally different situation with how close, not even mentioning the school, but how close that larger apartment structure is right next to it.
We've seen this with home explosions from natural gas. There was just one up in Lake Dallas not terribly long ago where there's not a whole lot of damage to surrounding buildings. It's very contained. It's very isolated, almost as if it's a tornado. I mean, You can go cover a tornado and one house is, taken to the studs and the house next door doesn't even
untouched,
has a shingle missing from it. So this is what it's very reminiscent of. Again, another hallmark of a gas explosion, a gas leak at some point. But, we don't really know in terms of, whether there were ATMOS crews that had been dispatched to that location. Our own Sean Rabb had confirmed with Dallas Fire Rescue that they were responding to reports of a gas leak around the same time that explosion happened. And I'm being told that we've got some video of digging that was going on.
So this was happening as the firefighters were putting out the flames, which speaks to a gas line, right? You see a crew working. I mean, a crew wouldn't be working while they're putting out a fire across the street. So they're doing something. We just aren't clear who they're working for, what are they doing. But the fact that digging was happening near this apartment fire as crews were actively putting out that flame is not a coincidence.
And when you really look at that picture coming in from Sky 4, when they get a little bit closer and they zoom that shot in on the lower left-hand side of your screen and they push their way in, I mean, that is blown to smithereens.
Right.
The firefighters are standing on top of boards and cinder blocks.
And they're sifting through that.
They
I mean,
are.
some are putting out the fire, and this video was from around like 1:30. They're putting out the fire, and then, I mean, it's not common. I mean, we're not always at a fire the second it's happening, but the fact that while they are still putting out hot spots, you see another group of firefighters that are climbing through the debris. I mean, some of what they're touching is hot too. And so the urgency of what they're doing speaks to how urgent this situation may be that we don't know about yet, about the sheer impact of who is impacted from this.
But that shot in particular, I mean, it just looks like that thing exploded into 1,000 pieces, and there is debris
bricks,
all over
rocks,
the place.
Everything.
Not much really left as they work to sift through all of that and try to find people that may have potentially been inside. Again, the latest information that we have at this hour, ladies and gentlemen, is that 4 people have been transported to the hospital. That number was initially 1 in the very early goings of this. They just raised it to 4. And again, we just don't know what types of injuries those are, how extensive they are, whether they are in fact life-threatening injuries. But 4 seems to me, from where I'm sitting and my experience in covering things like this, Stephen, that is a pretty low number, relatively speaking.
For sure.
And I think that they are being very cautious about releasing additional information in terms of facts and figures, because I don't know if they even know a number at this hour as they are searching.
And what they do in a situation like this, I mean, we've covered multiple incidents like this. I mean, you have a group of people who are contacting every contact for anyone who lives in that apartment complex, right? And so they're trying to see who's answering the phone, what's the best contact for anyone on that list. So they're already hopefully in contact with the apartment management to see how many people live in this building and calling them. And then you have how many people are going to show up at this reunification who will confirm, hey, I lived in that apartment complex, or I know someone who lives in this apartment complex. I've been calling them. They have not responded. And so that's one layer of what's going on. Then you have the fire crews there. One, right now, what you see live, putting out the hot spots. But you also have some crews that are just double checking, are there any pets trapped? Are there any unfortunate people trapped? And so a lot of things are happening all in concert.
And you also have firefighters that are taking a break. Our own Amelia Jones and photojournalist Mel Saavedra just got on the scene. They are on the other side of the high school, and Amelia just sent a picture down of some firefighters that are there in the shade under a pop-up tent, hydrating, bottles of water, no doubt exhausted from putting in so much effort.
They've been doing this for what, 3 hours now?
Right. It's a hot day out there. It's humid. And when you're up there on those front lines, that is a concern. One of the other reasons why they also call multiple alarms, and they elevate the alarms, because that activates additional personnel and that activates additional equipment as well. But one thing that's important, Parkland Hospital right now has not received any burn patients. That is from Sean Rabb that's just crossing. There's that photo that Amelia Jones just submitted to us of those firefighters taking a break. So we know at one time this afternoon that more than 100 Dallas Fire Rescue firefighters were on the scene. And so we don't know if they've pulled some of those people back at this point, but the real focus, of course, still, as we sit here at 3:40 in the afternoon, is the search and recovery, the search and rescue that may be going on. We say search and rescue when there is hope that people are still alive.
That is true.
That's sort of the terminology that we use. Then it shifts typically to search and recovery once first responders are not comfortable that any survivors will be located. We haven't heard any of that terminology used by officials, by the police department, by Dallas Fire Rescue, but at this point they are searching, and the hope is clearly that they could find people that are still alive.
This is the first time since we came on the air that the ladder is not spraying water. I know Sky 4 is wide right now, and you see the school where the reunification center is. There was staff inside of that school. Dallas ISD saying that no one was hurt inside, but as Sky 4 pushes in, that ladder for 2 hours we're spraying water, and they just stopped, and so that means a lot of the hot spots are out. We want to go to Lori Brown. She is where the media staging area is. Lori also, Casey, spoke to that woman who is related to the girl who was reunited with her grandmother. Lori, what are you seeing there?
Just moments ago, we were really hoping to learn if the Dallas Fire believes that everyone is out of that apartment complex or not yet, but that is still unknown right now. So when we arrived, we saw a 10-year-old girl being walked out by herself by Dallas police officers surrounding her, and you could tell that they were trying to figure out where her family members were, and you could see that she was visibly shaken by all of this. And then a little bit later, her aunt drove up along with her grandmother, and they had a very emotional reunification. You could tell that they had not been sure if she was okay after this explosion at the apartment complex where she lives. And so, but after their reunification, the focus quickly turned to where the girl's mother is, as well as her little brother, a 1-year-old boy. So the aunt, when we spoke with her, was still trying to figure out where those two family members were. It's not clear if maybe they made it out, but just didn't have their cell phones with them to be able to communicate with where they went, or if they could perhaps have been remaining inside, and hopefully they did make it out okay. So we're still working to figure out what happened with that family, but I want to bring you the sound of what they had to tell us earlier.
Hysterical because nobody knows where they're at. And my mom literally just called me, and I just came over here. She couldn't really tell me a lot.
How thankful are you to see your niece?
Well, I'm very thankful. I'm thankful. She's a little traumatized right now, but she just hopes that her mom and her brother are okay.
We're going to be reaching back out to Nora Carmona to see how they are doing and if they have been able to locate those family members yet. The city of Dallas telling us that they're still not sure if there are people that are inside the apartment complex. They're continuing to do those searches now. All of this comes a day after the city council agreed to an increase for ATMOS rates, and a city council member, Karen Mendelson, reached out to me a little bit ago just saying this might be an example of why that rate increase is needed, to be able to make sure that pipes are in a current state of working order without leaks. But again, the city not revealing to us what led to this particular gas leak. So a lot of information that we are still wanting to find out in the news conference. They didn't take questions, so we've got a lot for them.
Laura, you mentioned not taking questions, and so it's unclear, as you mentioned, the search continues. We don't know how many people are injured. We know they told us at least 4 transferred. The assistant fire chief saying unknown number of fatalities. Lori, what did you gauge from, we're not body language readers, but the mayor and Kim Tolbert, the city manager, seemed a bit emotional.
Right. I think it's also very rare to see the city manager come out to a news conference like this one. So I don't know what that might indicate. The mayor, he did very emphatically turn to the councilman who represents this area, Chad West, and say, we are going to do whatever it takes to help in this situation. So it does appear that perhaps the city officials know more about the magnitude or maybe the injuries than what they have revealed to us at this moment.
I'm just curious if you've heard some of the drones in the air. They specifically mentioned that, the assistant fire chief in that press conference, about using these aerial assets. And I know Dallas Police Department just rolled out a new drone system, and those are increasingly being used by first responders to get that bird's eye view and to try and use some equipment like infrared equipment, heat-seeking finders to look beneath rubble and determine if someone is alive and possibly trapped under a wall or something of that nature. Lori, have you seen any of the drones? Have you heard them in the air in addition to all of the other chaos that a scene like that brings?
Well, I haven't seen drones from my vantage point. I'm looking at Andy. Andy is saying yes, he has observed some of the drones in the air around this. So I am sure that they are being able to utilize that information in a way that choppers perhaps would not be able to get as close of a vantage point.
All right, a very active scene. Lori Brown, thank you so much to you and your photographer. We'll let you guys go back and continue news gathering, and just let us know when you have an update. We are approaching the top of the hour, and I believe the plan is going to be to go to Fox 4 at 4 at the top of the hour, so at 4 o'clock. But Stephen, where things sit right now, as of 3:47 on this Thursday afternoon, a lot of unknowns down in South Dallas and Oak Cliff. And this could potentially be a mass casualty situation. We are just sitting here and waiting until more information comes in.
Yeah, and as Lori said, that city officials did not answer any questions. That's not uncommon, especially in a situation like this. We would have liked to get a clearer understanding. And like you said, there may be information that they know that they're just not comfortable sharing right now. And so we're just left hearing unknown number of fatalities. We'll have to see how that shakes out in the coming hours.
As of right now, we just want to, again, sort of do a little bit of a reset, if you will, a scene setter. 12:47 this afternoon. That is when that first 911 call came in. Reports of a structure fire at an apartment complex on East 9th Street and Patton Avenue. It's right next to Adamson High School. And we saw very quickly, as video started emerging from the scene, an absolute inferno. What you see right now is what's left of that apartment building, but it was initially 3 alarms. Over 100 firefighters responded, and then about 2:30 this afternoon, it grew to 4 alarms. So more than 70 units then were on scene in addition to those fire personnel. They were able to get the flames out pretty quickly. The smoke changed from a very ominous black smoke that was billowing into the sky that could be seen from downtown Dallas. Again, for me, as I was driving into the station along I-30, coming into downtown Dallas from Arlington, you could see the black plumes of smoke billowing into the sky. They were able to get it under control, and so the smoke changed to white in color. And as you astutely point out, Stephen, they're still spraying a little bit of water there, dousing it, but the ladder is no longer over that scene. They're no longer putting a continuous stream of water on there. 4 people have been transferred to the hospital. We do not know the extent of their injuries. An unknown number of fatalities. Those were the exact words from City of Dallas officials and leaders who came out and gave us a press briefing in the last 20 minutes or so. And lastly, the most important component where we stand right now, a family assistance center has been established at W.H. Adamson High School, and that is where all of the people from that community are being directed to, a reunification center of sorts. There you see the tweet from Dallas Police. A family assistance center has been established at W.H. Adamson High School. Please do not go to the fire scene. All families should go to the high school for more assistance and more information.
As we continue to look at this smoldering now apartment complex, as you mentioned, a lot of unanswered questions. David, talking to a young man who lived across the street, indicated that there are a good amount of people who live in that apartment complex. Now, granted, this was in the middle of the day, but school is out. And so, could students be home on summer break, parents at work, or some parents working from home? Dallas ISD did have staff members inside Adamson High School, which is right next door behind the tree line in that shot. They said that no staff members were injured, no students were in the building. But the biggest unknown is how many people are truly impacted by this. And not even from a death perspective, but I mean, everyone who had an apartment in their property is completely gone. And so they have to come to grips with living through this tragedy of losing personal belongings.
Some questions, but understanding that a lot of stuff we can't answer because it is still a very active scene. So we'll answer as much as we can, but understand like this is still very active. So a lot of questions we're not going to have the answers to right now.
Just for planning purposes, do you expect it to be on time here shortly, or okay? Thank you.
Yep. I know y'all are probably gonna live.
Yeah.
In 5 minutes.
Sorry.
Oh, it's 5 now.
Yeah. Sounds like they're going to try to take this on time. Oh, hey, can you give me that? They might be taking this. Let me do that. Switch to. Do you want me to take that channel on and I'll. Person is going to be on. I don't know.
Hey, Dominique.
But Sam, you might want to, like, do you want me on camera, or do you want to do a one? In like, on where I'm at? Yeah.
You're going to the left.
I think they're going to come out, so if that happens, wait, are you?
We're not.
Okay.
Well, then if I push you, just move.
Cool.
Chris, I mean, can you stand up there because now there's a light? You have that at 52?
Here
Where
they
do
come.
you have that at?
Do you want me to put one back up there? No. Okay.
Oh, here we go. That we go.
Like that one?
Yeah, got it.
They're coming. Hi.
What's up?
I need IFP, David.
Hold on, sorry.
Hold on, just stay there a second.
Sorry.
You're good, you're good. One sec, and yeah.
Okay, guys?
I'm good, I'm good. Thank you, gracias.
Tony. Here we go. It's the front. Not going right now. Right now. I'm going to put my mic up there too, just in case.
You're not going to be able to get it.
I don't
Channels 1, channels 2.
I think for them to make sure that they're, I don't know which one they're going to, you know, I'll come.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Susie Solis. I'm the Assistant Director PIO for Dallas Fire Rescue. We're going to answer just a couple of questions after we give you an update tonight about what is going on. And I first want to introduce you to our City Manager, Kimberly Beiser-Tolbert.
Thank you so very much. We are definitely saddened about what has happened today in this Oak Cliff community. There are several supporting organizations that we want to take the opportunity to thank for the work that they're doing to assist us with this operation. The American Red Cross, Dallas Crisis Intervention Team, Dallas Emergency Management, Dallas Animal Services, of course, Dallas Fire Rescue, our Dallas Marshal's Office, the Dallas Police Department, our Dallas Street Response Team, Dallas Independent School District, Mental Health Services, Family Gateway, the Salvation Army, and our Transportation and Public Works Department. We could not do what we're doing in this moment without all of these departments and organizations and agencies working together. And so we are truly thankful for their support. At this time, I'd like to turn it over to Deputy Chief Berry, who will provide you with a more detailed update.
Right. Thank you for having me. Today, we as first responders were met with a sad situation. And at this time, I'd like to extend from the Dallas Fire Rescue Department and our first responders our heartfelt condolences in this time of bereavement for the families. we responded to a gas leak, reported gas leak. Our first responders, while they were en route to that gas leak, a subsequent explosion occurred. They called for the cavalry and called for an upscaled response, and where a one-alarm structure fire was transmitted, and it was immediately struck into a second alarm. We had the cavalry coming and help coming, but the explosion had already taken place. We, as first responders, our highest priority is life safety and the preservation of life. And so we take this to heart. We're very humbled by today's occasion. We don't take it lightly. However, there is still work to be done. So at this juncture, we have gone from rescue mode to recovery mode. We are still actively in recovery mode, and we may be in this mode for the next 2 to 4 hours, maybe extending this operation even beyond that. So at this time, that's what I have for you, and we will update you. I have to get back to our incident to continue to lead our guys and also take care of bringing this incident under a close. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Assistant Chief Pako, Dallas Fire Rescue. We understand that this is a very challenging and expanding incident, and on arrival, our firefighters took great action in what they did. We thank them for what they were able to do and their continued efforts. It has been quite a challenge from the very beginning because this was expanding with multiple aspects of hazards that had to be addressed. With that, we also understand that this has the impact on a community as well. So we do ask for additional prayers and thoughts through the community for those affected and for those firefighters that continue to work through that. Again, thank you very much.
Assistant Chief Russ, also like to thank all the outside agencies that contribute to this incident as we continue to go through our recovery phase, and just think that the citizens of Dallas are blessed because we have multiple special teams in the city that usually get deployed on other big incidents. So this is nothing new for them. They are well trained, and they train all the time for incidents like this. So we feel very confident in their capabilities and that they will bring this to a closure. So with that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming out, and as we get more updates, we'll provide them to you.
How many people were involved? How many people lived at this building, please? And how many people are unaccounted for?
We're going to just take a couple of questions. Chief Berry?
So there have been some individuals that have been accounted for. We're working on getting a concise number for you. This is an active incident still. It's still under investigation. There are still phone calls that haven't been answered, and therefore it's still ongoing in terms of getting a total account for the number of people that that live at this residence.
Have there been any fatalities identified?
Yes, there have been fatalities at this point.
How many?
We can all confirm that there are fatalities. We're still working through the recovery phase, so let us work through the recovery phase and give you a total number.
A tenant of the apartment complex told me the city was drilling a hole and they were putting gas in it. Can you confirm what led to what you believe led to this gas leak? Was there any city activity involving this or not?
Yeah, I'm going to turn that over to,
My name is Director Concarly. I'm the Director of the Department of Transportation and Public Works. I can confirm that the city had no active work in that area.
We'll take one more. Who was working on the area? Now, someone was working, according to multiple residents. Was this Atlas? Who was working on the street, please?
There was no work in the right-of-way. Everything else is still under investigation.
Any of the other questions regarding Atmos will have to go to them.
Oh, Atlas is in here.
Correct. So thank you all so much. We will provide one more update later this evening, likely between 8 and 9, but we'll keep you updated on that. Thank you so much.
To know what time did the first 911 call or whoever called it, wherever, what time did that come in? Guys, what time did this come in, and then how long did it take fire to respond, please.
Thank you.
For residents who are asking this. Will anybody respond to that? How long it took? Thank you.
That's in the
Stand by.
People are going to have these questions.
Stand by.
that's in the
David, hold on a second.
Somebody can expand on that. Thank you.
We're getting the time.
There are people dead now.
We can answer that.
On the time that the call came in at 12:47, we received a alarm in our 911 dispatch center of a gas leak. Initial crews got on scene at 12:49, so it took them 2 minutes to get on scene. Our station 15, is probably like 2 blocks down the street, so they were the first ones here.
How many crews responded? I mean, it's a huge response.
On the one alarm fire, you get we have a total of 3 engines, 2 trucks, 2 battalion chiefs, and a rescue. And as it escalates, you just start doubling that and getting more supervisors out.
And this ended up at a 5?
Ended up at a 5 alarm.
And you talked about
mostly for the 5th alarm is for manpower, because as you can see, it's a hot day here today, and we're not acclimated to this weather yet, being the beginning of summer. So we have to make sure that we rotate our crews out and make sure that they are safe, so we can continue this operation.
And you talked about this expanded, the scene expanded as it went on. Can you explain why?
Just to finish your question, it's an active scene right now, as we mentioned. It went to 5 alarms. We have 17 fire engines, 6 fire trucks, 4 rescues, supervisors, and over 115 firefighter personnel and rescue personnel working this incident at this time. Yeah.
Still 4 transported at this point? Yes.
Yes. 3 transported, 1 self-transported.
Okay, this is a highly Hispanic neighborhood. Can we get somebody in Spanish to talk to neighbors, to talk to residents in Spanish? We have a community liaison. Thank you, please. An official or a resident?